Good morning once again. I would like to thank Awil for organizing the conference and always inviting me. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to be here. And in a special way, this time I'm happy to be with my supervisor, Professor Lois Kando. He's retired, but very far from being tired. And so I always want to thank him for his support and the good cooperation. And I'm happy to tell you that the future looks good with cooperations of projects, but also business. So today I just want to give you general examples of hedgerow use in agricultural landscapes in Uganda. And like I've said at the past conferences, that Uganda is very diverse. It's a very small country, but with 40 million people, and it's about 1.5 the size of Austria, but with 40 million people, and so many tribes, so many different agroecological zones, about 17, and each of those zones has a unique farming system. So one of the important uses of hedges in Uganda is animal fodder. We combine livestock, but also with farming. So for us, in one of the agroecological zones, it's about forages, as you can see, cattle feeding through the hedges. And hedges are important because some are annual, while others are perennial. So we have a mixture of grasses, a mixture of herbs, a mixture of legumes, dual-purpose legumes like coriander and others. So this is important for us because of improved livestock productivity and increased household income through higher and better quality herbage. That is what the animals are feeding on, especially for coriander and the morus species. And as you can see in that photo, we have a mixture of the herbs above the ground, but also on the ground we have the grasses, especially vetiver grass, because we have found out that it's important to reduce soil erosion in the lower highlands of Uganda. And also in the lower lands of Uganda, the soil erosion is only about 3.2 tons per hectare per year, but then in the highlands it's over 10 tons per hectare per year. And then the other use is obviously vegetable supplements. You can, for example, moringa. Moringa is eaten, we make a juice out of it. So for us, it's about complementing the diet. And then the other use is firewood source. In the background, you can see a hedge of cassia. It burns very well, and in Uganda, 90% of the households are using charcoal and firewood as a source of cooking and other source of firewood anyway. And then the other thing is the hedges act as butterfly reservoirs. In Uganda, in some parts of Uganda, butterfly farming is a very huge thing for tourism. And we have a large number of species. So for hedges, they act as a reservoir for larval host plants and various nectarine plant species. The other use which is important in Uganda is fencing, because land is a very contentious issue in Uganda. There's a lot of conflict over land, so most people would use a hedge just to protect their land, to make the boundaries, because a lot of information only exists on paper but not in digital form. So I know that there are a number of projects coming up to digitalize the information, to make the land boundaries, to reduce land grabbing, but also reduce the conflict. But this is really something which is only beginning and really taking a long time to happen. So most people are using hedges as a fence. For example, in this fence, you can see in the background, it's made of euphorbia. And it's also, for some farmers, it's simply managing degradation in the highlands, in the hilly areas, because there, when we have a lot of rain, it's reducing the runoff and the surface runoff of the water. And then in this picture, this is in southwestern Uganda. Southwestern Uganda is very hilly, and so the farmers there are mostly using hedges as contours to reduce the runoff from their land. Even if the slopes are only 30 to 40 degrees, farmers can still go up and do their farming. So hedges in that area are only used as contour bounds to reduce the water and reduce the soil erosion. And then, of course, it's making an impact on the hydrological behavior of the water, the runoff, and also minimizing soil erosion, but also improving the terraces there. The other use is something that I'm passionate about, conservation agriculture. And we know that one of the components of conservation agriculture is mulching, something to cover the ground, because when the soil is bare, there's a lot of evaporation, runoff is high, and other things. So when we have hedges, it means that the mulch is increased and therefore the soil is protected. It's not naked. Again, for this, most farmers use caliandra, but also mucuna, which is also eaten by some people. And back to Western Uganda, some of the farmers who are market-oriented, because in Uganda we have several different types of farmers, but most farmers are smallholder farmers. They have land between 1 and 2 hectares. So for those who are market-oriented, hedges are important because they have learned that hedges are improving soil fertility. They are having an impact on their tourism. For those who are doing household, small area or community tourism, they know that hedges are important. And in this photo, you can see that somebody has maize, but also a hedge right behind their maize. And the hedge is of a pigeon pea. Pigeon pea is good. It's a legume, and it's important as a vegetable for them, but also improves the nitrogen content of the soil. And I talked about moringa. This is something new. Moringa is now very marketable, and most people they have learned you can eat it, the goats love it, but you can also make a powder out of it, and it's very important for health, for reducing some diseases. So for people who do not have access to health insurance or formal health services, moringa is always the #1 plant to run to make a juice, to make a vegetable, to make a powder, and so on and so forth. So you find these on the market in most of the upcoming supermarkets and shops. Everybody knows that you only have to dry the leaves and package it, and you'll have a source of income. And so what is happening? Like I said, through the Africa UniNet, I don't know if you've known about it, which is coordinated by the Institute for Development Research at BOKU. There is projects that are coming up, and one of it is a cooperation to have more students at PhD and MSc level researching and doing various research projects. But also the other is we have a business call for entrepreneurship and diversification. And then the third one is policy enforcement to encourage farmers adopt soil conservation techniques, including hedgerows, mulching, and others. Thank you for listening to me. Those are some of the references. Thank you.